Can we take a minute to appreciate the fact that Sakamoto Days episode 8 just did something that you can't always see in these types of anime? I mean, you do see moments like these all the time. Character looks like he's about to die, oh my god, and then insert I knew there was reinforcements behind me. And realistically, they didn't. Like, let's be honest, it's just the plot being convenient enough that the character caught a side eye at the right moment. But not in the case of Shin. Shin's actually one of those characters that you don't have to explain because it's just very obvious that he would know, because if he's tapping into people's minds in a general proximity, he's gonna know that the sniper with the barrel, whether or not he's thinking in his head, he just knows. And I appreciate the Sakamoto Days. At face value, could have been a monkey brain show. Could have just been funny assassination stuff, but no, they legitimately cover the tracks and just, man, episodes like these are so fun. You have the real Chainsaw Man as a girl with a buzzsaw just slices, and I'm like, did you all just see that? Oh my god, this. I appreciate that the arcs are longer now, that they're not just episodic kind of fun times, but no, we'll have the amusement park multiple episodes, the museum multiple episodes, and in doing so we also get to explore individual character stories, whether it was our girl last time, or Shim this time. I mean, the internet be hating, but you can't please angry people, what can you say? But this shit was absolutely awesome. Of course, want to support my work, see my full thoughts on these amazing Sakamoto Days episodes, we got the Patreon, full live reactions available exclusively over there if you're so interested. I mean, every single week, I have said since this show started and we got the first 2 episodes, I said this is one of the best shows to watch this season. And despite many people coming into my comment section telling me how ass of an anime it is, or blah blah blah, I've always disagreed. Though, Sakamoto Days haters are built different. I had someone last week actually unironically say that every week my opinion on the show changes. Even though my opinion every week has been, this is one of the best anime of the season. But Sakamoto Days haters, they're built different, just maybe in all the wrong ways. But you look at an episode like this, and just the pure fun factor. And maybe it helps because I like the way older style anime looks and moves, but whether it's stuff like My Home Hero, which I remember people told me that show looked bad too, but I loved how it looked, or just the way it has this very gritty old school feel, but yeah, the movement, it feels like anime. Anime has always been one of the least moving animated mediums in existence, but it's not like they just slide around on screen. They have these sharp shots, of course, because that's how anime works, the close-up shots of oh my god, the character's head just got cut off or whatever it is. But the character, they're not just this isn't Dragon Ball Z animation where characters are just stiff and they mouth flap and then they go boom. It is an animated show. And I think that's why the overall streaming numbers for the show back the popularity, because at the end of the day, you're not critically online people are turning this on week after week. Granted, the outside of Japan, Netflix is a little much a week behind for the global release, but still, and it's cracking records left and right. We're gonna get on to season 4 of this show, and people are still gonna try to explain how it's a failure of an adaptation, as it's remaining to be one of the most viewed anime for Netflix. It's funny. But Shin's story took a turn, and we already knew it was better than I think we probably assumed walking into this arc. But the idea that legitimately that whole group was just so much nicer. The fact that when you look at him when he started out in this show, you would probably expect, once they start talking about experimentation and stuff, he had a sad backstory. He had an adoptive father story here. It was so sweet how supportive he was, and the fact that when people were talking shit, he would stand up for them, and then when it got to the point that people were kind of scared to be around the kid because he was always tapping into their brains, they understandably pulled back. But the idea that what was seen as a defect or a curse by all of them turned out to be something that he's quite proud of having, and he's very happy about that. And I just thought, it's such a sweet story, and it took a turn you don't always see, because usually it'd be a much sadder backstory, but in fact, he actually had a pretty pleasant one, and he's having an even more pleasant present because he's with Sakamoto, someone he respects so much. When it came to the fights, we actually had a couple that were really fun. We finish up with the Incredible Hulk of steroids, who I love how they ultimately beat the guy. Shin stands in front of him, because ultimately he does the opposite. So if he's I'm gonna punch this bastard, well, he ends up punching Shin. So the idea of basically thinking all of his thoughts so Shin can know exactly what he's gonna do, and because he's not redirecting because he's standing in front of him, he just beat the living shit. You basically do the JoJo punches of aura, 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 and it was just absolutely badass. And then they introduce an even crazier looking fight where dude removes stitches, Discount Dabby over here just popping out guns left and right. I forget what that one show was called, but remember that dad who was augmented and he was just a giant robot of weapons and he would like finger pistol and shit? Like, it's cool. I really thought these two that were coming in, we were gonna throw hands with Sakamoto. No, in fact, they're like, no, we're just here for this guy. Chainsaw, head got cut off. And I'm like, oh, what the fuck? What this girl just do? I want to see more of her. Now, they kind of dip because they're like, hey, Sakamoto's got it. I was kind of hoping to see a bit more of them. But either way, like, the whole episode just doesn't go exactly the way you would expect if you've seen enough anime. Because there's, like, a general formula that you follow, right? But I appreciate the fact that this show, it sticks to its own way. I like how it looks. I like how it sounds. I like how it presents itself. And given the fact that, you know, we had a girl last time with like backstory characterization, this time it was all about Shin. I'm kind of interested because I assume next episode we wrap up this ordeal. And if we have 2 episodes left of this first season, we might be able to do something with Sakamoto, show a little more of his backstory, a little present day characterization before waiting for the second season. That definitely could be in the realm of possibilities with how they've structured it up to this point. I was half expecting and hoping. I knew it wasn't going to happen, but when our boy pops in and, you know, the daughter's like, oh no, where are they? I need them to take your daughter to school day. I'm like, man, just bring him. Just bring him and say he's dad for the day. It just would have been comedy gold. But unfortunately, I get it. He needed to be the sniper reinforcements. I just hope she's upstairs looking at dinosaurs and not, seeing gunshot go off in every other direction, right? Very, very fun episode, though. I'm liking it a lot. I'm going to be sad when this one wraps up. It's been an interesting experience, you know, making these videos and just seeing the lack of excitement at face value, but then you actually look at the analytics behind the scenes of this show, and you're like, actually, it just feels like the silent majority in terms of enjoying it, where, you know, the people are allowed to be disappointed about things, but it's the difference of the people who are like terminally online and just completely shit talking this show and like honestly at this point hate watching it, and then there's just people being like, we like Sakamoto Days, it's really, really fun. And that's, at the end of the day, that's why we come to anime, to have fun. Sure, everything could be better, but I don't look at this show and say, I wish it looked like Demon Slayer. I really don't. Shoot me. I like how it looks. I like the grittiness. I like the old school feel to it. Actually brings out the charm of the show more, but I don't know. Maybe that's just me, but then again, you could show an 80s anime to half the modern anime population and they would say it looks like ass by today's standards, so what can you do? Let me know your thoughts and feelings down below. What did you think, and what do you hope to see with the conclusion of this arc, which I assume comes next week, but then again, it might last a little longer than we're expecting. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around here, of course ring that bell, and like I mentioned, we got those full live reactions over on Patreon, and hey, while you're over there, I'll just give you a video shout out. Alright, so today we got A. Barrett, Kyle Call, Austin Fernand, and we also have Rookie, so I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care, y'all have a good one.